So welcome back to a brand new video. This will be part 7 of the Beginner Chess Lessons video series. We're going to start off at a rating level of about 1050 and go until we're about 1100. But before we jump into games here, I do want to say a quick thank you. This is my first time doing a video series like this, and it's been pretty successful so far, so I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been watching multiple videos and really engaging with the content. With that, so I do want to say if you want to see more chess content on really any subject, instructional, there's going to be a lot of entertainment videos that I have coming up with chess, or really a single subject like attacking or defending or tactics. I'll be happy to make those if you want to leave a comment below. But in addition to that, subscribe to the channel, leave a like in these videos. It does go a long way. Again, I'm happy with the success these videos have had, and I have a lot more planned for the channel. So again, a big thank you to everyone who's watched, especially if you've been tuning into multiple videos, and especially hope you are learning something and taking something away from these videos. And with that, let's begin. Okay, so we're going to start off with e4. We have seen this a bunch. I'm going to go a little slower here to start out, so we're going to play knight f3 to follow up. We're going to attack this pawn in the center. Our e4 pawn is attacking the 1-2 squares, and he plays c6. So we're going to play d4, we're going to attack his pawn, and we're going to take back. So the knight, pawn both in the center here, and we're really going to react for the next few moves to his moves. So we're going to react, and we're going to defend this knight, although the queen is already defending it. And he's making a mistake here. I know we've talked about it a bit. The mistake is to move one piece more than once in the opening. And I'm realizing this is a 3-minute game, so we'll switch to 5 minutes after this. And I'll have to play a little faster than I want to. Okay, so we'll look to check him there next. Get the queen right there. We'll also be able to play that. Oh, so he's going to sacrifice a pawn to get some wiggle room. Oh, one a piece that he's not going to take. Alright, queen here. Take. Alright, so pawn there attacks that. Okay, so he blocked that. We're going to castle quickly. Going to look to play rook over. Then we're going to bring that pawn up. Okay, so he's attacking this bishop here. Now so we can get more coverage on that dark square there. Oh. Attacking it, defended by the queen here. We really want to push this pawn in the center, but we also want to get this knight involved as soon as we can. And we'll make that right now. Okay, so he's attacking, but we're going to respond by just going there. If we were to take, okay, so he's going to respond by defending. So his king is on the run. Not on the run, but it's not well defended, let's say that. Okay, so he's just firing at this bishop. Really on the aggressive here. Is he going to try to take? Does he see that he can't? Okay, so he can take here. We'll let that. But we need to get a finishing blow on his king here. How do we want to do that? So he's going to try to keep pushing that pawn there. Alright, so now this is not going to be able to go forward any further. We do want to attack this, but that pawn is actually pretty strong for now. If he were to play something like rook over, that would be good. And I think that will help us. So he's going in for the kill here. Unfortunately for him, we're doing the same to him. I like this square here to put either a rook or a queen. And I'm going to do a rook because I want to protect this square here. Okay, so he's in trouble. Big trouble. How do we finish this off? That's the question. Oh, like that. Alright, so he loses his queen here. But I would bet money there's a checkmate hanging out somewhere. So let's check. Check. Okay, so he could be able to run away, so we'll take here. Can't forget about this guy here. Hoping he goes back. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so we're attacking 1, 2. He's got a take. Turns into a queen, protected by that queen. And now we checkmate him. Okay, that was a bit faster there. I am used to playing faster than 5 minutes, so that is okay, but that's a little more attacking based. So we're going to slow it down here. We're going to play a 5-minute game. So we start off with e4. We're going to play c5. And again, these are repetitive openings that I play often. I think they're very strong. You see top-level players play them quite frequently, but it is also good to get used to the same things. And what I'll do is I'll use an analysis board to find out, did I play the best move in a situation, or if something went wrong, I'll trace back the opening to say, what move did I make that wasn't good? What could I have done better? So learning chess is a lot of analysis. You got to do your homework. It's not just about playing. You got to go back and review your games. Think of what you could do better. Use tools to help you figure out what you could have done better. There's a million resources you can have, and it's a gift and a curse where you have to dedicate a lot of time, but it works out if you put that time in. You will see the improvement. And watch my videos. They should help too. Okay, so he's got a stranglehold in the center here. He's got everything just firing off. Let's fix that. So we're going to play a little more passively towards the center than we normally do, but we do expect to get some central control soon. So we do that. Takes. All right, let's try this. He could go there and close everything off. The attacking chances would definitely decrease if that were to happen, but I'm sure things would open up after some patient play. But I feel like people don't often like that, so that might benefit him there because he hasn't. Now the queen is facing the center as well. So can we pull a fast one on him somewhere? Okay, takes. What's he gonna take with? If he takes with a knight, interesting move. Good move by him. Okay, so we'll go here. Let's do the same though. He wants to push the center, and we'll do the same. So he would take, we would take. He could take here. He's getting interesting, I must say. So he could push here. I'd have to move the knight, but I don't think that would hurt me too badly. So this would be an interesting move here. It would actually protect my king, while also not protecting it. What I mean by that is, this kind of acts like my own pawn in some ways because it gives me protection, but I just can't put a piece here or here. So I have the option of taking this pawn, but I might avoid that for now. Now that pawn is a problem for him. So at any time I can put it forward, but I have to choose the best way to do it. Now a good way to do it is just to take a rook, like that. But these are the type of situations where you have a better position, especially now after winning that rook, but you have to be patient. Okay, so now that we have more pieces off, I'll take that. So I'm attacking his bishop as well, so we're likely going to trade here. And we're going to look to trade off pieces. Okay, so how do we want to do this? Let's put the pawn forward once more. So if he goes rook here, play bishop here, so it's protected. Now what we can do, we can sacrifice one of the rooks to turn that pawn into a queen. And here's a nice little tactic. So we're going to rook there, bishop takes, rook takes. Oh, he got out of the way for it. But I could probably still pull it off, because he has to take, or else I just take him there. So I do see he's attacking this pawn, but I'm kind of playing my order of operations here to say you get a pawn, I get a queen, we win that exchange. So he's thinking and he's looking for the right move here. There may not be a good one. So what we would call that is sacrificing an exchange, meaning often like a rook for a knight or a bishop. But if it's something that betters your position, or here it helps you turn pawn to a queen. Now he sacrificed the rook, so it didn't turn into the queen, but it was that idea. So we sacked the exchange there for this type of position, and this is working out well for us. So a bit instructive here. I want to stop, make sure I'm covering our endgame technique a little better than I have been, because we haven't seen too many of them. So I'm up rook and knight, rook and bishop here to, he has no minor pieces, so I want to make sure I do the right things. What I want to do, and I didn't mean to make that move there, for first to get rid of his pawns, 1 and 2. Then I want to cut off his king from being able to move towards my pawns over here. So I'll have these 2 pawns that are going to be running down the board. And again, by leaving the rook on this file here, he'll never be able to cross that. So I want to put it in a protected place, even if it's back, let's say this square here, so it'll be protected by the pawn. And obviously during that time, he's going to move these pawns and try to attack me a bit, so I'm going to have to just mitigate that. But that is really the idea that I'm looking to do. So I don't need to think too hard to find a beautiful checkmate with a bishop and a rook. Rather, once one of these 2 turns into a queen, I'm going to use the rook and the queen to checkmate him. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like I'm going to be able to play that out because he's either running out of time or I'm going to resign in just a minute here. But that is the strategy I would take. So it is good practice to kind of visually say, here's the material left, and here's how I want to approach it. So even if it doesn't fully get played out, it's a good practice to just have a type of board like this and say, I'm in a winning position, but how do I want to go about that? And when you're in positions like that, you want to be able to almost instantly identify it. Even if it doesn't totally work out that way, it's good to be able to kind of find the path of least resistance here. Okay, so we've seen this opening before. It worked quite well for us last time, and what I mean by that is the opponent moving the queen here way too aggressively very early. So we're going to look to exploit that. The knight here is attacking his queen. Everything is sound. I'm going to try to go knight there next. Okay, so he's attacking there, but I'm attacking there, so I think that's a better threat. I think we'll have to go, okay. We'll have to go back. Okay, how do we want to follow up here? We'll put the knight in the center, and we'll allow him to take the pawn. He could do that. Okay, so we're going to attack that pawn there. Although we move 2 pieces in the opening here, so we don't love doing that. Everything's protected still. So he's still moving just the queen around. So I'm probably going to look rook there next. So I don't see a great plan from him. I mean, he's probably going to castle next. But this queen's just running around the center without too much purpose. I don't get that move. I hope I'm not overlooking something, but it sure looks like I win a piece here. We'll go back. I take. Well, I guess he just doesn't take back. I don't see why. Obviously, he could take there with the knight, but I would win 2 pieces for 1. So can we get his queen here? So I want to attack this pawn. I have a lot of stuff protecting. Interesting. All right, so we'll try to back his queen up, and this allows us to continue to develop here. So we'll put the bishop there next. Be able to attack that knight. Okay, so we'll have to put the rook behind the bishop to make sure when I move. This guy is running. Wow. That way, when I move the knight, it'll be protected. But I think we'll try to attack him quickly. So if he takes, then I win the queen. Oh, actually, he can't because it's pinned to the pawn. There we go. Okay, so I would love to take this knight here. That way he would take back with the pawn and it would open up his queen. Okay, so what I'm going to do is move the knight there. That allows me to take there. Let's see if he sees that, if he's going to combat it in any way. But look how underdeveloped he is. He still has this knight back there, and we moved a bit more around on the opening than we probably would have liked to, but we see that this is looking much better for us now. Okay, so we're going to go ahead with that plan. So he's going to be on the defensive now, for sure. Okay, so we're going to check him. I don't see a queen follow-up just yet. Oh, I do. We're going to attack his queen here. I'm going to try to play queen there. Yep. Oh, there's a check. So we'll get the queen out of the way. So he could play rook over. Okay, that's fine. The knight is protecting. I'm sorry, the bishop is protecting there. So his queen, okay, I was about to say his queen is protecting the square there, but that is no longer true. Oh, we don't even need to do that. We have a quick little checkmate here. And we're having a little delay there. Okay. So we have this bishop and the queen as a battery, and we're going to checkmate him right there. So that all really stemmed from us being able to open up his king. So when you can do that, it is generally beneficial to you. So we're moving a little quickly here. A couple more games probably left in this video, but we're going to try to stay fundamentally sound. So we see e3. We haven't seen that before, and it's not an opening I recommend. Hats off to my opponent if he has a plan, but it is not traditional, what we call book opening, meaning like you're probably going to not read a book on it. Not going to be too many published. Okay, so we're going to attack the center. We're going to look to play knight f6 here. Probably going to play bishop e7 next. And we're going to castle. We're going to stick to our fundamentals. I don't know what he is doing. Okay, so we're going to kick that pony back. He's probably going to play that next. We're going to continue our development. So generally when you have someone who attacks you very aggressively, it's best to make sure you're defending where they're attacking, but at the same time, continue with your development as much as you can in a normal way. So here we're still staying fundamentally sound. Can win that pawn next turn. Okay, so he's still pushing there, but we can ignore that. See a nice check there. He would take back. I would either take with the queen or with that pawn. If I can get that pawn into the position, he's really going to be limited in what he can do. So already this is a bit weak for him, but okay, so I think we're going to take with the pawn. That way our queen can have some flexibility with where she can go. And this diagonal looks nice. Okay. I'm going to attack 1 and 2. And if I can get this pawn here, a lot of stuff is going to fall very quickly for him. This is a good example. I think he has to play knight back there to protect it, but I would just take with the pawn. Also, rook is hanging. So a lot of players around this rating level try to be sneaky in attack. They try to kind of overwhelm you. But it's what I'll call the difference between kind of fear and danger, where just because there's a bunch of pieces coming at you doesn't mean you need to be afraid, because it may not actually be dangerous. You might have to still put attention towards it, and you still have to defend properly, but once you finish defending that, you can likely win the game pretty easily. Like we just did there. What we saw a lot of development on the king side, or lack of development on the king side, just pushing those pawns at me. As you see, neither pawn was able to even reach my king. We see pieces that are unprotected. We see my pawn was able to go all the way up to d3. So not pawning, not queening, not making it to his back row where it's able to turn into a queen. But when you have a pawn this far up, it really limits where your opponent can move, and especially in their development, it takes a lot of those squares away. So really instructive game there. And when in doubt, stick to your fundamentals. So we do see we're playing some players around the 1200 rating level. 1200 is what they call average. So I know I've mentioned it in the previous videos, but we are kind of leaving the beginner levels now. And I'm having a little bit of malfunction here. Can we reload? All right, let's try that. That seems better, okay? Okay, we're going to play our typical opening stuff here. We're going to attack the center. We're going to let him take there. We're going to push that pawn up. We're going to develop this bishop next. We can castle. Nothing too fancy. So he has the option to play pawn there pretty soon, if you'd like to. I'd be happy if he did, but looks like we have that option to push forward instead. See if he exchanges here. He does not. So this pawn is going to become a target for him. He can play that. He can do a lot of things, but in these type of positions, I find that opponents often overcompensate to try to protect the pawn in a position where it ends up being detrimental to them, because with that overextension, they end up kind of putting positions in weak, put pieces in weak positions in order to try to defend that. And that's something you always have to gauge, is to say, is a piece worth defending that badly? Is it a pawn? You know, would you lose a pawn if you stop defending it? Would you lose a piece, etc.? So he moved his queen right in the center, and I see two things we can do about it. One, pawn up, or we could put bishop here that would be protected by that knight, but I think the pawn is the more sound kind of fundamental move, so we'll go with that. Now I do see if we move that pawn forward soon, that would open up this line here, so I want to put my queen here to protect the bishop in case that happens. So you move the queen back, and we're going to just push the center here. It's a really good position for that, because as you can see, we really have that locked down. So that's the reason I really like this opening. Okay, so what he's probably thinking here is putting the knight there, so he could take back with the pawn. I would take the knight, with the bishop there, and I'm okay with that. That pawn, and as much as it would be moving down the board on our side, I don't think he'd be able to defend it for particularly long. I don't think he could protect it long at all, because after I play this move here, he's going to have to go back, and then I take it. So it's just a little bit of calculation, kind of looking down the road and opportunities there. So I put the pawn in his face there. There's not a whole lot he can do. And then this will be great after we can have 1, 2, 3 really uncontested in the center. So he has pieces attacking them, but we have a really strong defense where we have this knight protecting 1, 2. We have that bishop protecting that, and the queen, which will go there next, will be protecting 1, 2, 3. So this is really another example of both players having even material for now, but one player clearly dominating the board. Okay, so the trap there was if I played that to attack the bishop, I would open up my queen. So I had to look out for that. And I still have to look out for that type of defense there. Okay, so we're going to move this over. Like we said, we have to protect that bishop in case this opens up. But I think pawn to d4 next is a really strong move. It would be protected by 1, 2. So what does he do here? Does he back it up? Does he sacrifice it? He can back it up, but I'm still just protruding in his position, and it's quite strong for me now. Okay, so this would lead to this pawn can be traded for mine, and it would lead to an exchange, but I don't even want to give him that. I want to push that pawn forward. It's protected here by the bishop, and if I push it again there, I'm going to win probably with that bishop, which, again, this is crushing here. This is kind of like how a snake would play chess, meaning you're kind of just coiling around him, and although he's not losing just yet, it's looking bad. Oh, we have to be careful though. We can't take it just yet. He can actually take, because if we went back, we'd hang our queen, so we have to be careful of that. So he's going to take back. Hopefully with the king, we'll check him, and then we'll take that. Perfect, okay. Okay, so he really should have taken here, but we're not going to get mad at him for not doing that. So we're up by the knight here. I could have played that a little bit better, but it worked out okay there. So the pawn chain we had in the center has dissipated a little bit, but with that we're up a piece, so that is good compensation for that. Now we're going to put the rook there, and we're going to try to open these files here, so his queen won't be able to move on to either of them. And the knight obviously is the variable here, meaning we are up that knight. We both have 2 rooks and a queen, and about even. He's up by one more pawn, but basically even in pawns. So we want to control where we can, and then let this knight just dance around. So there to there looks like a really solid attack. Let's see if he stops us from doing that. But if the knight gets to there, we're attacking 1, 2, 3 all at once. So like there would be a move that would allow that. Even here, I'm going to be attacking 1, 2. So let's make it happen. So even if he takes, I'm going to take the queen. He can take back, and then I'll take with the queen, and we'll be up a rook to a queen. Oh, perfect. Okay, so perfect. We'll check him. He's going to go here, and if you want to find a tactic, I recommend you pause the video now and look for it. I'll play it in just a moment. So I'm going to find a move using my queen that attacks both the king and the rook, and that'll be playing right here. So attacking there and attacking here. He has to move his king, and I take the rook. So now, similar to the last video, I want to pause. Obviously, my opponent resigned here. Oh, 1100. My opponent paused here, but what I want to do is say, what's my plan? Quickly. I want to get rid of 1, 2, 3 pawns. So I'd start off by either taking this one or this one, then taking that one after, and then my plan would be this pawn is furthest up the board, so I'd want to move that. I need to recognize what material he has. So he has 1, 2, 3 pawns. I have 1, 2, 3. So I want to keep an eye on them as they move down the board, but I think that I will be safe because we could always trade all of these pawns. And if I need more backup, obviously I could put my queen wherever it needed to be to kind of combat his attack. So that's what you want to do as quickly as you can when you get in these type of situations, especially when you're winning. You want to try to make it as pretty as possible, meaning you don't want to just be shifting pieces around or seem very hesitant. You want to make a quick evaluation. And this is a simple one. Obviously, being up a queen and your opponent doesn't have one is a much more simple attack. But having that plan is crucial. So good game to my opponent, and I am going to end the video here since we have reached 1100. So again, thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel. Look out for the next part in the series very soon. Thanks so much.